Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Money Mike, and today is Tuesday, meaning Monday Night Raw happened last night. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Big news to talk about coming out of Monday Night Raw last night, and there's a lot of things to digest, and quite frankly, a lot of this is WWE's own fault because essentially they just don't care about tag teams, tag team divisions, or the women's division, or the women's tag team titles. So, if you are living under a rock and haven't heard by now, the women's tag team champions Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of Monday Night Raw over creative differences over what was supposed to have been a six-pack challenge to determine Bianca Belair's next opponent for the title at Hell in a Cell. Now, of course, a lot of people can say, "Well, this is why you shouldn't have a pay-per-view every month because you have to find an opponent for some opponent for the champion to face every month." And all this other stuff. And but the point being here is that obviously WWE is not AEW. WWE goes for pay-per-views or premium live events every month. So with that said, they needed to find a challenger for Bianca Belair. So they advertised this six-pack challenge, which was going to feature the tag team champions Naomi, Sasha, Asuka, Becky, and then Doudrop and Nikki Cross, or Nikki ASH. And that got turned into a singles match between Asuka and Becky Lynch because, well, Naomi and Sasha walked out, and then now here's the very interesting part about all this to me is that WWE released a statement about this. Now, not only did they mention this on TV, they said, they re-filmed some stuff. Becky Lynch brought it up on TV saying that Naomi and Sasha left the building. And so one would think, okay, they're mentioning it, so maybe it's a storyline, it's a work. And then you have Corey Graves go on. I think Corey Graves called it like unprofessional, and then like WWE released this statement here where they pretty much say that pretty much I don't know, maybe it was almost like a burial, but they basically came out and said, hey, we were supposed to have this six-pack challenge. Naomi and Sasha Banks uh, walked out over walked out, and they couldn't give they were disappointed that they couldn't give the scheduled six-pack challenge. Now, I don't know about you, but couldn't you just replace them with two other people? Like, that women's division in WWE is talented, it's deep. You have enough roster to where, okay, two people walk out. Okay, Dana Brooke and Tamina, Dana Brooke and Carmella. We saw those three in the 24/7 title segment with R-Truth. We had Alexa Bliss and Sonya Deville face off in a match. Again. So, why didn't, so you could have put on that advertised six-pack challenge. Just replace Naomi and Sasha. Instead there's this whole blame game now where WWE is coming out saying that, hey, this is unprofessional, blah, 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 and putting out this statement, and it just seems so weird because when CM Punk walked out in 2014, There was no such thing. And normally this kind of stuff is stuff that's kept to the back, that can be done in a, settled in a professional manner, talk it out, blah, blah, blah. And so for me, when I look at this here, and now we've kind of gotten some more information about this, is that essentially WWE wanted Naomi to win the match, and then Sasha was going to go on SmackDown, set up a feud with Ronda. So instead of Naomi and Sasha defending their tag team titles, in which case Naomi and Sasha both said we're trying to angle for a tag team storyline with Nikki ASH and Doudrop, which, as you can see in that statement, WWE somehow flipped that into they didn't want to work with two of the competitors in the match. Like, WWE is twisting everything to make them look good and make Naomi and Sasha look bad. And, like, to me, like, this is WWE, not only does this make WWE look bad, but they need to look in the mirror and realize that this is all on them. They don't, unless you're the New Day or the Usos, they don't care about tag teams. The women's division, let's look at that. Ever since Big Johnny has been brought back under talent relations, I think you could say there's been a drop in the women's product. I think you could see that, and I think you could see where the tag team titles, since the beginning they were brought in, well, WWE really hasn't done much with the women's tag titles. They were brought in a couple years ago. They built up this elimination chamber where they're going to crown the new champions, and Bayley and Sasha were the first champions, and then they lost the titles to the Iconics. The Iconics didn't do really much with them. It felt like they put the titles on them, but they didn't know what to do with them afterwards. So they just kind of did nothing, and then it kind of bounced around to Alexa and Nikki Cross, and then it just bounced around too much, okay? To the point where it just felt like there was no creative direction for the women's tag titles. And then during the pandemic, Bayley and Sasha won the titles, and then it just still felt like, to me, if you weren't a 4 horsewoman, or it felt like if you weren't a 4 horsewoman, basically, the women's tag titles didn't really mean anything. And I think you see here where you see it now, it's like, it's obvious WWE just does not care about tag teams at all. Doesn't care about building a tag team women's division, let alone their men's division. So if you're a tag team competitor or you're a tag team independent, your best place is to go to AEW, because they actually care about tag teams. And I don't want to make this into AEW versus WWE, but at least AEW is actually has built their tag division, and is one of the best tag divisions, probably, or the best tag division out there in pro wrestling today. And WWE easily could have had that themselves. Triple H built the tag division in NXT to be one of the best tag divisions we have seen, at a time when the main roster was not really doing much with the tag titles. We saw at a time when the Divas were getting 3-minute matches, Triple H was building a legitimate women's division. The only person that cared about tag teams in the women's division is no longer there. Now, granted, Triple H's health issues have played a big role into that because of his heart and stuff like that, but it seems as if the tag division and the women's division lost their one person that was in favor of them of those divisions, and that's being Triple H. And so yeah, you know, WWE can sit here and be like, oh, well, they can, look at Sasha and Naomi and blame them. There's a report going around saying that, oh, why would they leave and take a stand on this issue or whatever? Well, the issue at hand, at least according to what the internet says, is what I was talking about. Naomi and Sasha were going to be in individual matches facing off against Bianca and Ronda at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Not defending their tag titles, Naomi and Sasha wanted to, try to get a tag team feud going. They wanted to build that division, and I think they wanted to defend the titles, and I think for them is being told that, hey, we don't, you're not going to defend the titles. We have plans for you to go for the single titles, but you're going to lose and put over the main champions, and then we'll start your tag team feud. The report is that, they pitched the idea that even, okay, what if Doudrop and Nikki ASH interfere in their matches at Hell in a Cell to set up the tag team feud or something? They were turned down. WWE said, no, let's not do that either. So, whatever you want to believe, again, to quote Seth Rollins, rumors are fun, but always remember, do not blame the dirt sheet. Do not always take for granted what the dirt sheet said. Remember a couple years ago, Bayley and Sasha lost the tag titles, and it came out they were crying on the ground and they were having a fit and everything else? Yeah, so let's not kind of rush to judgment of, okay, well, Sasha and Naomi are in the right. I mean, which, let's face it, okay? There's a lot of things creatively, I would say, from WWE that is hindering their product. I think they don't do the best storylines. I don't think, from Seth Rollins said this on the Broken Skull session where he said they don't do the storylines that are right there in their face. Naomi joining the Bloodline last year. Right in their face, they didn't do it. Then you have now where it's kind of like you have this tag division, these tag titles, you have to do something with them. And it's like, we'll just have you lose to go into singles feuds. Obviously, it is unprofessional to walk out. I think there could have been different ways to go about this. I think, maybe you just go ahead and say, all right, this is what we'll do. Fine, whatever. But at the same time, you have to applaud Naomi and Sasha for making a stand and saying, look, we won these tag titles. Let's do something with them. And then for them to be told, no, you're just going to lose. No, we're just going to put you in individual feuds when you're losing to the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions. So I applaud Naomi and Sasha for actually standing up, saying, look, this doesn't make any sense creatively, and, why can't we do this instead? And so, again, people say, oh, FTR might come back to WWE. This is why FTR will not come back to WWE, because they don't put emphasis on their tag division, men or women. And it's astonishing to me how I think WWE in that statement was trying to spin it where, oh, Sasha and Naomi are to blame. Sorry, WWE, you have to look in the mirror and realize your creative writing absolutely freaking sucks. Stop giving out these stupid ideas that make no sense. Having your tag champions lose in singles matches does not make any sense. There's no sense, no logic to it. And to me, this is why creatively WWE needs a shakeup. They need to get rid of some of the writers. And again, like I said, I think the biggest supporter of the tag team wrestling and women's wrestling being Triple H, him not being there no more, I think it's quite obvious we've seen a decline in both of those divisions since Triple H left and had his heart issues, and now the tag division and the women's division don't have anyone that's in their favor anymore. So yeah, WWE just needs to kind of look in the mirror here and say, you know what, maybe this doesn't make sense. Let's do it their way instead of no, you have to do it this way. And to me, it just seems to me like they're seemingly out of touch when it comes to what to do with storylines, and it's hindering the product because they can have one of the best on-screen products in pro wrestling, sports entertainment out there, but they hinder themselves creatively. They just can't get out of their own way. So again, I'm not picking a side on this. I just think, on one hand, it is unprofessional to walk out on your boss, but at the same time, in this business, sometimes the promoter needs to look in the mirror and realize maybe they're part of the problem. I've been your host, Money Mike. Comment below, do you think Naomi and Sasha were in the right? Should they have walked out? Was it unprofessional? Was it unprofessional for WWE to bury them in a statement? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video.